Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of art, it's the Tenet Podcast. I'm Todd Pearson, coming to you from the 40 West Arts District in Lakewood, Colorado, and joining me from his studio in Rapid City, South Dakota, my brother from another mother, my partner, my friend. You know him as quite possibly the most interesting man in the world, Wes Brown.
Hey, Todd, how you doing, man? It just seems like yesterday.
Because it was almost yesterday that we were
almost
on here doing this. Yeah. We're in the flow.
We are in the flow. That's right. We're both back from our little short vacay. And you up in the mountains doing the Boy Scout stuff. Loving it.
Yes, sir. And getting back into the groove. Let's get into it. Thank you for joining us. Remember, you can always find out what we're up to via our social media on Instagram at Tenet Podcast, our Tenet Podcast Facebook page, and of course, our website, tenetpodcast.com. We have something very cool for you this week, an art event, an art happening that includes not only an exhibition, but also a concert, a fusion of visual art and hip hop. It's the brainchild of our good friend, Dan Drossman, who we've had on here many times, and world-renowned rapper, Homeboy Sandman. You can get all the details and info via the Instagram at Visible Planets 2023. Dan and Homeboy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. What up, Todd? What up, Wes? What up,
Hey.
So, Visible Planets. How did this all come about?
So I guess to backtrack, me meeting Angel, Homeboy Sandman, is kind of how it started and becoming friends. But I was making some artwork for a show, and sometimes when I like a song, I always have music in my ears and looking for the right rhythm. And one song came up, and I just kept it on repeat, and it started working. And it was Calm Tornado by this guy. And I just loved it. And I was like, this is a great title for this piece of work. It just kind of looked like that and felt like that. So just randomly, I thought I'd throw it out. I just found his email. I was like, hey, I just want to see if you approve if I title this, and I found his email, and he responded right away, and he liked it, said he was honored. And then, he said he's coming to Denver, and he came to my studio, and we just kind of became friends. And then a couple months later, he comes back into town, and he's talking about, his boy Decca. It's also a great rapper and a visual artist. And I had it in my head for a while. I've always wanted to kind of have an art show of rappers that also make visual art and just kind of have the art show. And I basically just proposed it to him, and that was it from there. And he, it's amazing. Like, my favorite rapper, like, love A$AP Rock. And he's like, yeah, I'll give him a call. And, and I had a couple of them that I liked, and then he picked a bunch, and it just worked out perfectly. So yeah, that's on my end. Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything to add. Yeah, I mean, Dan, when we first met, he came through before the show that I did in Denver, and we were playing horse someplace, like a little mini hoop. And he was supposed to come to the show that night, but after playing horse, he was so embarrassed that he didn't show up for the show. Is that what happened?
That's the exact reason.
Yeah. So we got up to a rocky start, even though I did love the piece so much. I thought he was such a talent that I was, disappointed to find, that he wasn't much of a sportsman or a poor loser. But since then, that's shown itself to be merely an aberration. And I've become a great appreciator of him as well as his art.
Yeah.
How long ago was this that you guys first connected?
It's a year and a half.
So it must have been over a year and a half ago, if not 2 years. I was saying that range, someplace in the 18 to 24 month range.
March. It was March of the year before. Yeah, March, I think. Yeah. When you came through last summer, right?
Yeah. Came through last summer just to build on it more. But just to build on it a little bit more, like, Dan, he's the real visionary, It's a real great idea, when he told me about it, I thought, wow, it's a fantastic idea. It's so good. I wanted to, it's kind of unusual that nobody's had it before, just because there are a lot of people that I've worked with and people that, hip hop participants that are, people think about hip hop and they think about the 5 elements, one of which is visual art. People think about graffiti, you know what I mean? Even though I don't even think even though Ace is nice with graffiti, and probably all these guys could probably do really whatever they put their mind to as far as visual art, you know what I'm saying? But I just thought it was such a great idea. So I really, most of the credit for a lot of the infrastructure and kind of the blueprint for the whole thing is really Dan. I'm helpful that I was able to get involved in just trying to be connective, connected some of the people. But I have become really invested in it just because it's just an exciting show. It's exciting to be involved in. You know what I'm saying?
I love the concept. And when Dan first threw it out, I thought, wow, what a fantastic idea. Didn't know that, and it makes sense, but, most artists are multifaceted. They have multiple interests. So it was pretty cool that you guys were able to put together a show of not only these rappers, but also these guys that do phenomenal visual art. He took us to a show actually last year in the fall, Wes and I, and we got to experience Decca's art. And that was my first experience seeing Decca's artwork. And I was blown away. I was just like, wow, the guy's out of this world.
Yeah. Truly brilliant. Yeah.
It's crazy to me, just with him, especially, just, I don't know, someone who's just exudes creativity in every, I just imagine him like working nonstop on his hip hop, on his rap. He produces it, he, does everything. And then on his break, he'll just make this amazing art. Like that's his side. Like after being so creative and so good, then it just comes out. It's incredible. And it's so good. And it's fun to see all the artists, the connection, the similarities between who they are behind the mic and who they are on the canvas and who they are as people. So it's interesting to get to know everyone as well. So, yeah.
So that thread runs through everything.
Yeah.
Of what they do and who they are.
Yeah. And I think some of it, let's say Decca for one, like his music has a mellifluous, like it's meditative and it just has this great flow and it's deep and spiritual. And then his art is the exact same thing. It's just, and sometimes artists, it's different. They're showing something that they're not showing in their other, medium or whatever, but it's great to see. It's just like, this just comes out, it's great if it's authentic and raw and real, and it's, it's going to show up in everywhere and every part of it. It's great to see.
Dan, did you say mellifluous?
Mellifluous? Sorry.
Mellifluous? Are you trying to go up?
It's like your voice, yours as well. Yeah. You can use that in your next rap if you want.
Very nice. Yeah. His vocab. Actually, Dan, I don't have any I'm not a adept visual artist, but Dan even, he even said to me, we talked about the idea of me maybe trying something out, which of course was just a ridiculous idea because these dudes are super good. But maybe some being around all these rappers is rubbing off on you a bit, Dan, it seems, with that type of voice. You know what I'm saying?
I want to do a rap battle on against you guys. I think it'll be pretty even. And you're laughing. Why? Why would you ever laugh at that?
I would pay good money to see that, Dan Drossman.
I was actually talking with Decca, and I just had this dumb idea. I was like, I wanted to, for a promo, like to have this like freestyle rap battle like on the street where videoing, and he goes off on me, and then I either say something dumb, or whatever, just some stupid thing, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Good idea. People love beefs.
Maybe next, yeah.
But Todd did say he paid good money for that, right?
Oh yeah,
heck yeah.
So Dan and I are gonna figure out how to do. At least we could do me versus him and see what we could get out of Todd for that.
There we go.
Can that happen at the show itself? Because I'm going to go to the show.
Oh man, that could be the encore, maybe. Right? It's up to you.
No, you can't finish off the night like that, dude.
I say we talk about it off air, get all the numbers right, and we could make it part of the show.
I just want to, I want you to be embarrassed like I was after the basketball game and not show up at.
I would be remiss if I didn't point out, the last basketball game that we played, Dan was the victor and his current champion.
In some way, yeah, in some way. On a tiny little hoop, but not really. But I want to play a real game, or a real game of horse, though. Settle the score. We'll see.
Sandman, you smoked Dan in horse, and then he ghosted you. He didn't come to the show that night. Is that the deal?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I'm thinking, and I thought we were becoming friends. He brought me by the studio. I got to see all the art. Yeah. I'm thinking, it's cool to meet artists, that you admire. I'm thinking he's going to come to the show. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I was a little disappointed, but
you must have really put the hurt on him, because that's very unlike Dan.
Yeah. It would take a lot for me not to go to a Homeboy Sandman show. So there is some other reason, but
okay.
It was a little, it was mainly the losing, but there's a little bit of throwing up and sickness in there as well. So
from losing, you were throwing up. Yeah, you lost so bad you were throwing up.
It could have been. I don't take defeat that well, so
I've never seen that side of you, so that's really interesting to me. And I know you have mad respect for Sandman, so yeah, it must have really did something to you internally.
I wasn't happy about it, but I got to see him next time. First time I saw him in 2015. It's blown away. It's so weird thinking about it, but yeah, with Aesop.
Is that the first time you saw me?
Yeah, with at the Warsaw in Brooklyn.
Okay, true that.
With Aesop, you were throwing cookies out on stage.
I remember that.
On stage.
Yeah,
amazing. And I was just like, and my buddy Keegan, it's my best friend. He was mad at me for not knowing you before, and I was like, shit. So
yeah, good friend. Good friend.
Yeah, I was like, he looks like he would suck at basketball. No, it was amazing. So yeah, so I've got to see him more than once, more than twice. So yeah,
and he's very supportive. He's been very supportive. That was the exception. That was the aberration. But just to say some things that nobody asked me, just in the event that my Wi-Fi cuts out. The people that are doing this show, like I love these dudes are amazing rap. Like Isaac Sawyer is probably the least known, but he's been rapping for a long time. He's from Las Vegas. He lives in New York now, and I think stylistically, Dan is a learned visual arts. Me, I'm more of a lay person, but it doesn't take a lot to recognize not only that all these people are very, very talented, but they all have these distinct styles, so distinct. You know what I mean? Like the Decca stuff is completely different from the Isaac stuff. The Quelle stuff, Quelle, I've toured with Quelle and Ace, a good amount and done full projects with the two of them. So I've gotten to see their art a great deal of them just sharing it with me. Both of them are brilliant. I just think everyone involved with this is a brilliant genius. You know what I mean? Kid Acne making a trip across the pond. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll have this again next year once it's a big success, or another time. I was talking to Exile earlier today, who produces for Blue Eye, and he's super duper nice with art. He sent me something because I'm already thinking ahead. And Fresh Daily from New York now is super nice with it too. So I'm already thinking ahead. And I don't even know if there's time to try and involve Exile in this one.
Yeah.
I guess maybe that's something I should just talk to you about via text, given the gap that's there, but the fact that Blue and Exile work together all the time.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm as far as we haven't talked, but I'm
well, it just happened today. I was just thinking of it today because I was promoting my new video that come out today called Therapy. and texting it to everybody on my phone and texted it to Exile. Well, I actually didn't text it to because I started asking them other stuff because people that I haven't texted in a while, I pretend to care about what's going on in their life before I text them the video. So we didn't get to the video yet, but we did get to the art stuff.
But no, I'm excited. I want to do it more. And what he was saying, the same thing is, the thing I like about all of these, and some of them I'm just learning about these artists, in terms of like the music side of it, is it's the same thing that I'm looking for, not intention, but like I'm attracted to things that I've never seen before, and things that push the boundaries, I guess, but not just to push the boundaries, but just because it's in them, this unique, it's so I would say the word raw, but like it's there, and it's it can be a little off sometimes, and that's the stuff I love. It's like the stuff in art and the stuff in music. It's the stuff that you get right away. Doesn't last as long as the stuff that you can't figure out why you're into it, or even if you're into it, but it just like over time, like Tom Waits, I loved his ballad stuff, and then I couldn't figure out, it was beautiful, and then I didn't like his, raw, dirty, like later stuff and his lyrics, and the more I did it, then all of a sudden I love this stuff. And same with Aesop Rock, it's like, the lyrics it's like a philosophy book, and you just like, for some reason, that stuff where I can just I might not like something right now, but the more I grow and learn, and years later, you can listen to it again. I know I'm going to like certain aspects, and it just keeps going. And all these artists, it's like Quelle, like I didn't know Quelle really much, and like he fits that same feeling of just like, man, it's so different. And some songs I really like, some I'm not there yet, but I know that's the style of, that's what I'm going to be drawn to. And the same in art, and it's cool to see their art, and their music. And so, I think I tailed off a little bit.
Well, I think the interesting thing, you're absolutely right though, Dan, when you listen to music, and it doesn't matter what the genre, rap is no different, depending on where you're at in life, and then you have that switch in life, those songs that you love, and they'll have a different meaning all of a sudden. So that's the beautiful thing about music that I think really transcends a lot of other types of art. It has this way of like getting into you at different times of your life, and sometimes changing the whole meaning of the song.
Yeah. Honestly, it's some art, some it's not like that, and some it is. And like the ones that are, I think its authenticity is, with Homeboy Sandman, it's the most, it's interesting to get to know him and to know his music before, and see how there is no delineate. There's no like, he talks about life. There's humor, there's pain, there's love, there's everything, but it's all like whatever the music has to do to communicate what he wants is going to come out. And it could be very different than the other song or other album.
Yeah.
And and there's this thoughtful, it's all creativity in the same way. It's good people can like exude themselves in their life, and you can see their life stages, and you can connect with some, maybe not in the same timeline, but like in difference,
Yep. So Sandman, is it the same way when writing music? Like I would imagine the stuff you wrote early, when you're performing it again, does it change meaning sometime?
Yeah, there's definitely stuff that I did, or there's stuff that I did that I don't want to do anymore, that I don't do anymore. You know what I mean? That I used to do. And then there's some stuff that I didn't even used to perform as much, that now I perform more. It's kind of like some of my own stuff has grown on me, And there's a lot of stuff that I make that I don't even understand until, later on. I don't really understand, exactly what it was all about, until I have the hindsight of a little bit more life experience, you know what I mean? But, one thing that Dan said that really resonated with me, as far as he said, I like to see stuff like I haven't seen before. You know what I mean? Like I like to see art I haven't seen. I like to hear music that doesn't sound, in rap, it isn't hard to find people that sound like other people. You know what I mean? It's a unfortunate situation, But one of the great things, about this show is not only do these people all have their own, brilliant artistic style, and it really is kind of, it's kind of like Bo Jackson, right? Bo Jackson played baseball. There's these amazing athletes, and they decide to go into one sport. Bo Jackson played football and baseball. Or you had Deion Sanders, right? Played football. Like, I remember Tony Gonzalez played basketball before he went to the NFL. He played basketball in college. But you have these amazing athletes, and they decide that they're going to do one thing instead of all these things. So I think what this show is like, these amazing artists that decided they were going to go into rap. Because everyone in this show could have gone into visual art and made that, this is going to be what I focus on. You know what I mean? They all could have done that, just like Bo Jackson could have said, I'm going to just do baseball, not football. You know what I mean? So it's giving them a chance to show all this other magic that, that they have. But the original thing I was going to say, the initial thing is just all of these rappers, all of these musicians, all of these artists, their music is one of a kind. Like you mentioned Aesop and Quelle and everybody that we're talking about in Blue, you know what I mean? These are all guys that are, I like to call them bite proof. You talk about biting and rap, people, biting each other's style. These are all people that cannot be duplicated. They are too authentic to themselves. Not too authentic, but they're too authentic to be bitten, to be duplicated, to be imitated effectively. They're too skilled. You know what I mean? Their frequency is too unique. So I look for that, in music the same way Dan looks for it in visual art, and obviously looks for it in music too.
So it sounds to me like you really put some thought into the curation. Obviously, a lot of these guys do some kind of visual art, not all of them, but you really had some thought behind who you wanted to be part of this show here in Denver on the 5th of August.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dan, Dan is a serious hip hop fan and knows his stuff, so I remember, we definitely talked about, what do you think about this? Like we tried to, even though, he mentioned not knowing Quelle, not being as familiar with, Isaac and some other, I introduced it and I said, well, what do you think of this guy's music? What do you think? So stuff that he wasn't aware of, I introduced to him to try to win. And there was some stuff that I brought to him that he was like, visually and musically, right? That you were like, this didn't resonate with him as much. And okay, that's cool. Cause like I said, it was Dan with the, with the vision and me just trying to, I think this is a great opportunity for them to showcase, and they want to get it out, like they want to let people see it. People don't think of them this way. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking this is a good opportunity to help some of my friends get some. So I'm bringing my friends. Well, I'm bringing people I'm connected to Dan. What about this? And he's saying, oh, this is good. This I'm not as much into. We worked it out like that.
It really is a true collaboration between the two of you as far as who you picked to be part of the show, both musically and on the visual art side.
Yeah. And I mean, I do have to credit, because all the people, regardless of, if I didn't like or that, or the selection process, they all have the same thing, what we were just talking about, that uniqueness and create. So it was, thinking about the people he sent me that I didn't know were all along the same lines of the same, what I appreciate in art and what we appreciate in music. It's that creative, uniqueness, and I'm going to give it to him more, but in the sense of that, but like, yeah, we did, it's a collaboration. Yeah.
How'd you come up with the name for the show?
So, I like the wordplay, but I'm dealing with Homeboy Sandman. I love coming up with names for, bowling teams or whatever, like anything I can do. But there's a little intimidation factor. I was like, I'm going to throw out these suggestions, and it was, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try some, and brainstorming. Some of them were, what was it? One of them was visual MCs. It was horrible. And I love his response. It's just like, and I barely knew him at the time. He's like, that's horrible, smiley face. I was like, yeah, like, you're the wordsmith. You take care of this. And like, I was trying to think of like audio visual, and then I wanted to, but ultimately, that was his first one, Visible Planets, and the same thing. But then it was like, it made great sense. It's a good nod to Diggable Planets, and it also, and then he could just add, a more subtitle of what it really is, and it explained it well.
And that, that wasn't my first one. It was just the first one I introduced, because I'm not out here giving you every bad idea I have. That's your style, to send all the bad ideas. I'm gonna go ahead and siphon all that. I'm gonna edit all that out and just hit you with the good ideas,
Yeah.
But in addition to being a nod to Diggable, the reason why I think it won out, because because we did have a couple of other ones in a run-in, that we were trying to knock Visible Planets from its perch, saying, it was kind of the team to beat. But I think the reason why, it wound up being what we went with is not only the nod to Diggable, but also, we spent a lot of time talking about how these people are all really, audio-wise, they're really their own universe. And visually, they're really their own universe. They're their own planet. They're their own, so, and they're able to be their own planet with their own orbit, with their own, rotation and whatever type of gases is going on, and this is from the sun is going on. They're able to do that on the sound tip, and now they're able to do that on the visual tip as well as visible, so I think that's why we settled on it. I'm very, very grateful to be on with y'all. Thanks so much. And I'm gonna hand it off to Dan, who is more than capable of, of just, ranting and raving, as y'all know. All right.
Yeah. You know what, man? We really appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you when you come to Denver in August.
That's awesome. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Wes. Maybe I'll see you there. Pleasure meeting the both of y'all. Keep up the great work with the pod. Dan, I'll talk to you later. Peace.
Tenet wants to acknowledge our media sponsor, New Magazine. That's NUE. You can follow both the national and the Denver edition of New Magazine on Instagram. The national edition can be found at new_magazine, and the Denver edition at new_Denver_magazine. And I want to share with you something very exciting. Check out the newly launched New Denver Gallery Guide. Look for the signage that says New Denver Gallery Guide that has a QR code, scan it with your phone, and you have instant access to a comprehensive digital guide to Denver's finest galleries and exhibitions. Find this QR code in your favorite gallery, hotel, or coffee shop as you visit and explore Denver. Thanks for listening.
Yo, this is Homeboy Sandman, and you're listening to the Tenet Podcast.
I want to really go down the list of who you have in the queue for this exhibition that you're putting on at Bitfactory, our friend Bill Thomason's gallery. Talk about each artist that you're presenting and what kind of work that we can expect to see from each one of them.
All right. Yeah. So I guess Aesop Rock, who he's not going to perform, he's not going to be here, but I was so happy that he was willing to do this and wanting to do this, and he works, it's interesting, he has these, I don't want to give too much away as well, but like in terms of, he works on, I think it's called Procreate, but he does these, beautiful, intricate drawings, and they're black and white, but they're, their composition and everything has a little bit of, like, I'd say, distortion to it, either from the perspective, from the viewer, but like he does these, they're beautiful. They're three pieces, and it's almost like you're a voyeur. It's almost they're just almost everyday people that he looks on the street, but it's under close observation. It's just kind of, he separates them from the world, I guess, and it's just this, I say voyeuristic, but in a way, but like just people, just an individual sitting across from him, and and the artwork itself, the intricacies of in the works, it's say close to perfection in terms of that style, and it's the same thing, and talk about the thing that I do appreciate. It's almost, there's something there that you can't quite put your finger on. To me, and this is personally, it feels like some loneliness to it, or solitude, but so there's a visceral reaction that I get from his work and that. And so, yeah. And then 3 prints that he does through Procreate.
And had you saw some of Aesop Rock's imagery before all this came together?
And I knew and he was the first one that I knew he was an artist. For some reason, I thought he went to Migra SVA, but he didn't. He went to BU. But he made, he raps about, making art, and and I knew he was the one that I really knew as an artist. Decca, I didn't know he made art, and some others, but he was the one. And it's so great to see, to have it in front of you and see what, for me, I just comparing to what his music is and what his art is and what it, the similarities or differences. It's very cool to see. If you appreciate Aesop Rock as a rapper, which, is hard not to, then I think you would appreciate this work, So yeah. Then
Decca's just out of this world. I just can't. I'm over the moon for that guy's work.
Yeah, I'm almost angry at
how good he is.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, man.
It's sick that you can be that great of a rapper and then, make such phenomenal visual art.
Yeah, I'm kind of mad, but no, his. I mean, and it's almost this, I'd say, transcendental, spiritual, and Alex Gray. He does these. I think it's better version of Alex Gray's style of work. I'm not saying it's a different one, but I connect with his work more, and it's just this meditative. It just draws you in. I remember his, at I think it was No Show. He put a couple of his works in this little corner of this at the Bitfactory show, and almost on that, they're smaller works, but you can see them, comparing it to Dolly. But I always remembered seeing Dolly's work from a tiny artwork from across the hall, and it just glows, and his stuff, I just felt like that, you just drawn like a moth, to it. You just want to go into it, and then you get lost in it. It's very calming and peaceful, and attention to detail. And the new work, I mean, I don't know many people, he's created couple really new ones that weren't in No Show. I just feel they're next level. It's, and yeah, so with that work, and then just getting him, I've gotten to know pretty well, and, spent some time together, and just to see who he is as a person, who he is as a rapper, who he is as an artist. It's just great to see how I keep repeating it, because this is why I wanted to put this together. It's creativity is creativity, and it goes through art, through human, who you are, through music, and it all seems the same to me, and you can see it in his work as well. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Meditative. I think that's a great description of Decca's work, whether you're talking about his music or, his observations of life and his music and the things he talks about, or his actual visual art.
Yeah. And then this is where I hesitate to talk too much about some of the others, because I haven't seen them in person yet. They are being shipped right now. But
you've been sent imagery of the work.
Yeah. But it's to see it in person, and you can really make a connection with it, but visually, and all that I can talk about, which I'm excited to see all of it. But Quelle Chris, his music is the same, but his work is, and I use this is weird, and and it's got there's humor behind it, and there's not. It's it's hard to do humor well, I think, in art, and to be able to not a one-liner or whatever, but there's to me, and I don't know how he responds or whatever. There's some humor and some darkness in it as well, And and he works with, there's multimedia. There's one that's a sculpt, that's like this fuzzy, fluffy sculpture, which it's the same thing. And as I'm thinking about it, it's like there's an element of humor to me and an element of very serious, deep. It reminds me of an artist, Mike Kelly, too. I keep thinking of when I see his work, but man, it's just how it contradicts itself in a way. I always like playing with that of contradiction of like, should be funny, but it's not. It should be dark, but it's not. It's both in one, two extremes in one. But yeah, so that's just, and I can't wait, and he has some other sculptural one, I haven't seen yet, but these hands, and it's a bright, loud colored. They're all three very different pieces, but they all resonate the same to me, which is, yeah. So that's basically, what I can say about Quelle. I can't wait to see it in person. And then Kid Acne. So he's Manchester, UK, and he does a lot of art. He does a lot of mural works, and he does a lot of text-based work. So a lot of these things, and he created this that very much. I guess he created works that were specifically for the show as well, and it. I think his work more than the other work connects to a hip hop more so, or even graffiti street, but like in the language, and he's great with his words. Yeah, these well thought out phrases or words that are just beautifully just painted on, with, I think he blends some print with hand painting, work, and yeah, there's almost bubble letter humor, but like the words, the wording, I don't want to give, too many away, but like, yeah, permission granted. And it's nice to draw in words and text into this. I always hesitate with it. Not that text-based work isn't great, I don't see as much that I'm drawn to on my own. I know it's out there, but like this text-based work blends text with art in this, look at these hand painted, they pop and they're fun. They're fun, and they're very well done. And you can see his work as an artist. You can see he's done murals around the world, and he's very particular with his words. And he has, I think he has 5 or 6 in here, but we had to select through, a decent amount, and it wasn't easy, but yeah, it's going to be exciting to see this stuff up close. Yeah.
It's well done.
Talk about Isaac Sawyer.
I was talking about Kid Acne and its relation to, connection to hip hop. I think Isaac is actually similar in terms of he sent a handful, and they're very different. There's some that were very abstract, but then you can look closer and you can see these elements of like, oh, this is a, inside of a cassette tape, or something, but he has these 2 versions, and I think we kind of blended it a little bit, but these old cassette tapes he uses, and he creates in these, he uses color beautifully, perfectly, and he has different ways of placing, almost like a piling of this music, this cassette. And I love that he uses cassettes, but and they verge from like, there is a rhythm to all of it in terms of how they're placed together, what they're doing, and how their movement. And I think movement is a good way to describe with the works. They all move either in a deep, spiraling forward direction, or like falling door, and there's a lot of that inside of it, and it's it's amazing. The one I really love, there's a lot of them. There's one that I really like. We did keep put in there, and they're larger paintings. They are paintings. Kid Acme was painting, yeah. And then this abstract, it is I would say expressionistic, which was different from his other work. It's very loose and expressive, almost like a close-up of this cassette tape in a sense, and it has this action. And at first, I loved it. I didn't recognize it as that, and then you just kind of you look at it and you step back, and it's like, yeah, it's a beautifully done. I think it's my favorite piece of his, but like beautifully done piece that blends, where it took a second for me, but like it's a very gestural, expressive work, but then it is that cassette tape. So yeah.
What sounds very interesting, the variety that you have, and everybody has a different style, it sounds like. How many pieces total are you going to have in this show?
I think we're going 6, 12, maybe close to 20, I'd say. Yeah, I have to look at it again, but we wanted to fill, I think close to 20 works. Some of them, Aesop has 3, and some people have, and we base it also depend on size, but like, I think 6 is probably 6, 5, 3, for each of them. So it's gonna fit in. It's not gonna be too cluttered, and it's gonna look good. Yeah.
Did you have these guys submit work that you chose from it, or did you just take whatever they said that they could put together?
Yeah, we wanted, and should mention Bill from Bitfactory, because he's been a big part of it as well, in terms of he helped me find the venue. He helped me with some these amazing sponsors. I have to, I think I said maybe about 8 to 12 works, and if they couldn't, and this is the other thing is, I know this is not their main profession is rapping, like making music. So I wanted to give them a lot of time, but I also understand, it was a big number to like choose, but pretty much most of them, they gave me 8 works, 9 works. Some of them might have been older, might have not been, but like, so we wanted a lot to choose from, so we took what they gave us, and Bill and I sat down and looked at how they worked with the other works, and how they worked together, what we thought would just kind of make a perfect show. And there was a lot of works that we loved and just didn't put in, because it didn't work, but that's how it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's just part of the curation process. You want something that flows, and Bill's a great guy to like collaborate with as well, as far as figuring that out. He has a great eye as far as his curation. His shows always look phenomenal. So that's awesome.
I'm excited to sit with Bill and hang, and we're going to do that next week and just put it up. It's going to be like, man, this has been a year in the making, and I didn't think, I mean, Homeboy Sam, it's like, I never would have happened, like this is like a dream for me, to be able to, and he just, got those people together. He doesn't give himself the credit or as much credit, but like, it's been a lot of work, but it's like intrinsically, like, it's exciting when you have an opportunity to do something like this. It's like, how do you pass that up, and how are you not excited, So
yeah, I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And from what he was saying, and obviously, you touched on it. He was very humble in the part that he played on this, but I know that, it was a true collaboration, and he was able to line up some of these people that maybe you wouldn't necessarily have access to, or what have you.
And also the other logistical stuff, that I don't know, that I've never done this before, or run an event or anything like that, so help with some things that I didn't know,
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And to get people that don't even live in the United States to be part of it and want to be part of it. Right. So that's huge right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he kind of alluded to that he'd never seen anything like this before, where it was just a show of all these hip hop artists. Had you ever seen anything like this or heard of anything like this before?
No, not at all. That's kind of not why I did it, but it was like, it might have been done, but I haven't heard, and I don't think any of the artists that are in it has told me they've seen anything like it. Maybe, but like, especially with the caliber of rappers too. I mean, these guys are well known. They're great. They're like great quality rappers and great quality artists. And it's like, I don't know if it's been done before, So yeah.
Have you been getting a fair amount of press for this thing?
Recently, yeah. These guys have a lot of followers. Homeboy Sandman has nothing to do with social media. He doesn't touch it. Um, but some of the other artists, he just like, Aesop Rock puts a little post up, and there's thousands and thousands of people who see it, and then they follow, and then, the other artists are doing the same thing. And it's, so in terms of like the social media, it's fun to see like, how one person, it spreads. It's great. Like reading the review, or reading the comments on all of these from, different people, and it's exciting to see how excited everyone is. People are flying from out of town, out of state. It's great. And so with that, on that end, and then KGNU, the radio station, they were working with them. They're gonna, they're promoting it on their end. We're gonna do, Decca and I are gonna have a little on air, with one of the DJs there soon, and talk about it. They're promoting it as much as, on air, their music, hyping it up, and then, Wash Park. I guess we made the cover of the Wash Park profile, which is cool. So yeah, so it's getting out. I mean, it's also, I think this next couple of weeks we could see some more. It'd be great. So yeah, we're getting some press, I think.
And not everybody that's involved with the exhibition is part of the actual concert, and vice versa. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the concert part of this and how that came about, because that wasn't really part of the equation at the beginning, right?
Yeah, it was a dream part of it. I think getting them on board for the artwork at a gallery show, I'm more connected in terms of that side of it. And I talked with Bill, and he was like, yeah, let's do it, August, and next year. So, and then speaking with Homeboy Sandman, I was like, in an ideal world, it would be amazing to fly these people out and, to have a show, a hip hop show as well. It's like, and he's like, let's just do the art thing and let's see. And he basically talked to them about, we talked about what it would cost to get everyone out here. And I was like, I'm just going to take a shot and try to like see who would help out, And it was one of my really good friends, a former client of mine, Ashley Garrett. I just came to her. I talked to her. I said, I'm trying to raise some money. Would this be something you're interested in? And she loved it. And, she's been supportive of me, and she's just a giving, amazing person, in general. She's just like, whatever you can't come up with, I'll put in, let's make this happen, And I was blown away. And, and if I make nothing back, she's fine. If I make whatever back, I can give it to her. And, it's just like, she just backed it, and so once that happened, I was like, it's on, we can do it, but trying to get more support and, Abstract, the t-shirt, they made all the t-shirts for us as a sponsor. It's amazing. And then, Artist Proof, Collective, another place, they're helping out funding, and it's just all coming together, and it just came together. It's amazing. Yeah.
Any other sponsors you want to mention while we're talking about sponsorship and people that have kind of helped back this whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, man, there's people. I say, KGNU, Artist Proof, Collective, Abstract Denver, Ashley Garrett Photography, and just other people on the side who anything online or or coming up with page layout, anything like that. Like Ann Morgan has been great. She's helped like lay out the flyers, the designs, and adding all that stuff. She's been a big help, and just being as gracious to help. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, there's just been a lot. There's been a lot of people who've been helping me with things that I need just support, because they want to support it. So yeah, Christina Davies, trying to promote little things. So yeah, you guys, so yeah. And if I didn't mention everyone, but like, yeah, it's been great. It's been, people have been happy, helping.
This exhibition, is it all going to be original work?
Yeah, original artwork.
There won't be like prints or anything like that offered?
Aesop Rocks are digital. They are prints, but they're one-offs. So one print, so it wasn't doing multiple. So.
And price point, you need to, have a bunch of cash to walk away with original piece of art from one of these phenomenal rappers?
They range, and we're looking into so anywhere from 150 or to a couple thousand. I think it's going to be a wide range. Those guys are going to be there. Aesop Rock won't be there, but everyone else is going to be there at the opening, or not the opening. Opening is the 21st of this month, but August 4th, for the first Friday, they're going to be there. And then you get to see them perform the next day.
So everybody that's participating in the exhibition, with an exception of Aesop Rock, will be there at the artist reception?
Yes. And Blue will be at the artist reception as well. He's there. He's not showing the work, but he's going to support it, and we'll be at the hip hop show. Yeah.
So how much are tickets for the show?
The art show is free at Bitfactory. The concert at Herman's is $35. If you get it online, at the door, it's $40.
And how do people go about buying tickets?
So you can either go to the Herman's Hideaway website, or at Visible Planets 2023 is the Instagram, at Visible Planets 2023. And in the bio, it has a link, App Slinger link, and it'll direct you there as well. And I think on my own Dan Drossman art one, I have a link as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's if you just put in Visible Planets tickets, I think it's on a bunch of different places. But yeah, you can find it.
Of all these people that you that are on the bill, you've obviously seen Decca and Homeboy Sandman. Who's on the bill that you're really looking forward to seeing that you haven't seen before?
And all of them, really. I mean, I I almost saw Quelle. So I went to he played in Denver, and I thought he was headlining, and I came a little late, but he was opening. So I ran into him and talked to him, and I was like, I can't wait to see you. And he's like, I was just on. So I really want to see him. Yeah, Kid Acne, it's going to be, and Isaac Sawyer is going to be great. Isaac Sawyer is actually going to be doing a little set on Thursday. I don't have the info. We can put it in a link, but like, it'll be a show. He's just going to play some beats on his instruments, and he's going to do it. I think it's a couple, $5, something at the door, but I'll send a link to that, but that'll be that Thursday if anyone's around. So yeah.
Yeah. Get that to me. I'll make sure it's out on the episode notes. So when it drops that day, people can go check it out if they want.
And the Drossman Sandman rap battle at the end.
Of course.
Well, that's what I'm looking forward to.
That's the biggest draw right there.
Yeah.
Hey, and I got the sense we talked earlier when Homeboy Sandman was on that he dropped that new video, Therapy, which you sent me today as well, which is fantastic. But it sounds to me like that's one of the new songs off a new album that he's going to drop that weekend. Is that he's dropping new music that weekend?
Yeah, I think it's going to be August. The guy is so prolific. There's so much. It's like coming out, but I think it's August 5th though. Yeah, but like, yeah, it's going to be a new album coming out. So, and we'll put that, I guess, link that up as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that album, I believe, is going to be called Rich, if I'm not mistaken.
So
he's put out a ton of music. In fact, I just read that he was anticipating putting out like 3 new albums this year. So like you said, really prolific.
Yeah, he doesn't stop. So yeah.
Anything else that you want to talk about or mention for this show that's coming up and on, it opens essentially tomorrow after this episode drops. And then the big deal is first Friday in August 4th is the artist reception, and the 5th is the concert. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I think July 21st is the official opening. The artist won't be there, but the show is everything's going to be so. I'm very excited. It's going to be great. Yeah, I think. And yeah, get tickets.
Well, fantastic. Really happy for you, man. Can't wait to see the show. Can't wait to go to the concert. I know this has been in the works for a long time, and all your hard work is going to come to fruition. So congratulations.
Yeah, no doubt.
I appreciate it. Thanks for putting me on here. It's great.
Yeah, always.
You guys. Yeah.
You're one of our favorites, man.
One of? Take that.
I think you've just broken the record of being on the most, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you've surpassed Rose.
Yes. How many? 4 or 5, something. Yeah.
I think.
That's great.
I might be wrong, but
well, good.
Definitely close to a tie, if not anything else.
Yeah.
And you're still doing it. That's great. That's great. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for spending time with us this evening. Tell Homeboy Sandman we appreciate his time as well. Maybe we'll get him on his own episode sometime. It'd be fun. I had a bunch of questions I wanted to ask him, but obviously he's enjoying himself with his fiance in Miami, and we don't want to take away from that. So I appreciate he came on for the time that he did. And like I said, looking forward to the next few weeks and everything that's going to be happening.
Yeah. And there will be a next year's Visible Planets. So
nice.
You'll get to talk to Sandman again.
Very good. Yeah. Well, Dan, we always love what you're doing, man. You're doing exciting stuff, and love your art, and love, big kudos for putting this together. This is huge. It's a lot of logistics, man. So congrats.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Again, don't forget to follow Visible Planets on Instagram at Visible Planets 2023, where you can find all the info about this fantastic exhibition and show. There you will also find a link in the bio to purchase tickets for the show, and a link to a playlist that Dan has put together of the artists performing. Visible Planets opens July 21st and runs through August 10th at Bitfactory Gallery, located at 851 Santa Fe Drive, Denver, Colorado, 80204. There's an artist reception on August 4th. That's first Friday from 6 to 9 at the gallery. That is free. Then the following night, August 5th, is the show at Herman's Hideaway, located at 1578 South Broadway, Denver, Colorado, 80210. Doors open at 7 and the show starts at 8. Tickets are going fast, so get them soon. As always, I will have all this info and more in this week's episode notes. For the Tenet Podcast, I'm Todd Pearson.
And I'm Wes Brown. Have a great week.